Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, as you can see, I've got the tie on and we are listening to the Pokemon Sleep Top Hollow music because my goodness, do we have quite the lot of Pokemon Sleep news today. There's a real ton of stuff to go over, lots of events and lots of other stuff. Today's been a very busy day, very crazy day in the Discord. Lots of people talking about things, lots of things on the Reddit. So much discussion about this. But this all started with this announcement video. Now, I'm going to pause the Top Hollow music and play this for you. This was what was in the Pokemon Presents this morning, announcing Darkrai and Cresselia. Cresselia versus Darkrai, the new event that's coming up. But yeah, I mean, Darkrai, Cresselia. One notable thing here, Muna has been pretty much confirmed by that. There's a good breakdown of this video on iBen Brown's channel. I'll link it in the description if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, that's basically the information about, that's the video that was shown. But yeah, what's going on with this? Now, it's an event, Cresselia versus Darkrai. A couple things to note about this. They didn't give us much information. They gave us very similar to what they did with Raikou research last year. They pretty much announced, hey, it's happening, and then went silent on it for the rest of the day until the night, where they actually gave us more details. Now, they haven't given us any timeline for any events or anything, which is interesting, because last year they gave us an event announcement for Electric Week, which was shortly after. It was when they announced it that very same night and what the event details looked like. This year they didn't do that. And I kind of wonder why that might be, and I have a little speculation as to why that is. And let's get right into that. So, we basically just know, this is all we know. End of March 2025, end of March, they're holding the event Cresselia versus Darkrai. Both Cresselia and Darkrai appear in the event. Which just implies that like you can use them or catch them or whatever. Psychic type helper Pokemon will be particularly effective during the event, so we recommend using Psychic types. A lot of these kind of suck. We don't have very many good Psychic types in the game right now, but Gardevoir is fantastic. Espeon's pretty good as well. Mr. Mime is kind of mid, and then don't bother with the Wobbuffet. Dear gosh, don't bother with a Wobbuffet, especially if you already have a Gardevoir. Because, you know, Wobbuffet is just going to do what Gardevoir does, but way worse. So, yeah. But yeah, Darkrai Cresselia. I just gotta say, I feel kind of proud because I was right. I was kind of right for the wrong reasons, but I was right. So, anyway, so when is this going to be? Well, there's no confirmation about that yet. And I think that there's two different possibilities. Let's get into the first one. Now, typically with Pokemon Sleep, they tend to like to line up their events, or full moons specifically. They tend to like to line them up with our events, because then we're able to manipulate the timing to take advantage of that 1.5 times drowsy power. And there are two notable full moons that are happening. Oh, whoops. Two notable full moons that are happening that reasonably the event could fall on. If they want the Psychic Week event to fall over the full moon, then they could give us it from the week of the 10th to the 16th for Psychic Week. And then if they do it the same way that they did Water Week in Suicune and Electric Week in Raikou and Fire Week in Entei, then they'll give us a 1 week break between, and then they'll do the event. Cresselia versus Darkrai, March 24th through April 6th. But, notably, there is another full moon, and if they shift things around a little bit, theoretically, that could be at the tail end of the Cresselia versus Darkrai event, and it still meets all the requirements as per the wording of this event notice. So, end of March. I know it'd be only end of March for 1 day, but honestly, I wouldn't put that past these devs. I feel like they've done other things like that, where it was like, oh, this event's happening at end of month. I think Suicune was something like that, where it was like, oh, it's happening at end of this month, and it was literally like the last couple days. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'd have to look at the timing again. But this is possible. And then if it stretches for 2 weeks long, like other legendary events have been, then the tail end of it would land so that the last Sunday night would be on a full moon, which I think that'd be very thematic, very fitting for Cresselia and Darkrai, because, you know, their event would be over the full moon, which would be very, very neat. And also being at the tail end of the week, that means we have this entire week of building up Snorlax strength. So we have the strongest full moon possible right at the tail end. And it could also give us better odds at encountering those last-minute Cresselia or Darkrai Sleep styles that we didn't get throughout the rest of the week. So, if it works similarly to other legendary events, then potentially. However, it's probably not going to work similarly to other legendary events. A few things to note. 1. Cresselia and Darkrai. There's 2 legendaries instead of just 1. And one's a mythical, actually. Darkrai's a mythical. Cresselia is just a legendary. So there's more than one. That's going to look different. Additionally, it's called Cresselia versus Darkrai. Good luck, Cresselia, being a psychic type, taking on a dark type. Don't think that's going to work very well for you, but maybe it'll work differently in this game. So it's probably going to be structured a little differently, especially since we had an announcement not that long ago telling us that they're working on a new event stylistically different than other events where we'll all contribute towards Snorlax's, with drowsy power towards the event's progress. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what this is, especially since it seems like it's like, oh, we're helping Cresselia fight the nightmare. If I went back to that video, then you'd see it says, like, banish the nightmare. That implies that we're kind of working against Darkrai almost. So, I guess some speculation there is that maybe we'll be helping Cresselia out. We'll all be contributing our drowsy power to boost Cresselia against Darkrai's raids or something in the nightmares. So, I'm assuming this event is going to look very, very different than other legendary events that we've had in the past, and I like that. It freshens things up a little bit, makes it a little bit cooler. So, yeah, I think that those are our 2 possibilities for when it could be. I think, honestly, I think I like this one more. It does give us a bit more downtime right now, because that means we wouldn't have any more events for 2 more weeks. After this growth week, we'd have 2 weeks of downtime. I feel like it's more likely that they would go with this one, because they have a tendency to just do back-to-back. Like, they don't like to do back-to-back weeks, but they have a tendency to do, like, we'll have 1 week of break, an event. 1 week of break, an event. 1 week of break. Like, that seems to be the cycle they tend to go with. So for them to give us a 2-week-long break, especially coming off of a growth week, which is, yes, it's an event, but it's not a super exciting event, I'd be kind of shocked if they went this route, but it just makes so much sense for the 13th to be the final coup de grace of this Cresselia versus Darkrai event. So I could honestly see it being either way for scheduling. Only time will tell. And I'll make an announcement video when that happens. Additionally, we got free stuff. They're giving us 10 Pokebiscuits and 1,000 diamonds for Pokemon Day. Thank you, devs. That is awesome. This 1,000 diamonds, if you base it off the 1,500 diamond cost one, that's like $23.99, I think. It values this at around $15.99 US dollars. So to hand that out to like every single person that plays the game just by logging in, even if you assume that's 1 million people, that's basically almost $16 million worth of diamonds that they're just handing out. Now, I know that doesn't equate to them actually giving us $16 million, but, you know, that's significant. That is very, very significant. And 10 Pokebiscuits on top of that. So, that's just really crazy. Good stuff. But something very notable, I usually don't talk about bundles on this channel, but I do want to talk about the bundles because us getting 1,000 diamonds means that these bundles are actually within, like, purchasing range for almost everybody in the world. If you are a free-to-play player, I highly recommend, if you have the diamonds to purchase it, purchase this bundle M, just because it's got a sub-skill seed in it. Sub-skill seeds are very, very limited, one of the most limited resources in the game. Actually, probably at this point, the most limited resource in the game. If you're free-to-play, that's especially the case, because you can't buy them in any of the stores. So, this sub-skill seed has tremendous, tremendous value to you. We just got 1,000 diamonds. This is 1,200 diamonds. If you had just 200 additional sitting in there, then just for that sub-skill seed alone, I feel like it is worth it to use what they've just given you to get that. Because that is tremendously powerful and permanent. And you get some Pokebiscuits and Great Biscuits on the side. I'll probably be picking this up for the sleepers. However, I do not recommend this if you are a premium player, because sub-skill seeds, you don't need them as often, and you do get them monthly, so it brings the value of this down quite a bit. And Friend Incense, in my opinion, is one of the worst items in this game, and one of the biggest, like, Buy me, I'm good. Trust me, it's not good. Way too RNG. Best odds. The best thing you can do with friend incense is during like a legendary event. When you have legendary incense, you can run a friend incense alongside the legendary incense to increase the odds that the legendary shows up hungry. The problem is the best odds that you're going to get. Ideally, you're running a good camp ticket during that week, especially if you're premium. If you're not premium, okay. Either way, let's assume not premium. If you're not premium, you're going to get 3 basic spawns that spawn in, plus the legendary. The odds that the friend incense actually targets what you want in that circumstance is going to be a 1 in 4 chance. Dear gosh, that is not worth it. Don't be worrying about friend incense. If you get it from the game, cool. Use it optimally. Use it on nights that you have a legendary incense going, but I wouldn't ever suggest buying friend incense. I value it as basically 0, because that is basically what it is, in my opinion, with how RNG it is. Especially if you run this when you're at higher drowsy powers, which you probably want to be during a legendary event. It's going to be like 1 in 9, maybe 1 in 10 if you run... oh, wait, no, I guess it's not going to increase the odds, because that one's guaranteed hungry and not going to be the friend instance. So 1 in 9. 1 in 9 is the worst odds you can get. 1 in 4 is the absolute best. I wouldn't spend diamonds on getting a 1 in 4 chance at something anytime, because that is way too unreliable. As for the other ones, you know what? They're fine. I mean, if you need more biscuits, this is okay. I mean, this is more for the handy candy. And this one, I mean, you're not going to be buying this with the 1,000 diamonds they gave you. If you're buying this one, you're someone who spends more money on the game. And that's my thoughts about that. It's nice how much candy they're giving out, though. Especially with level 65 coming out. But we'll get to that more soon. First, I also wanted to discuss Returning Researcher Bonus Volume 2. This really isn't for people who are playing the game, people who are watching this channel, because I'm assuming if you're watching this channel, you probably logged in sometime between January 27th and February 27th. This is just for people who've kind of like stepped away from the game, taken a little break, and then they hear about Darkrai, and then they're like, oh, that sounds cool. What's going on with Pokemon Sleep? I forgot about that game. I want to play it again. Then they get back into it. They get a nice little boost for coming back to the game. I love seeing stuff like this. I love seeing people reinvigorated for the game, because that's pretty awesome. If we can get the more people playing, the better the community is, and I approve of that. So, yeah, they're giving all these boosts to those people, but like I said, if you're watching this channel, you're probably a bit more of a fan of the game than taking a month off from January 27th to February 27th. Although, potentially, they've done this twice now. Maybe if you want to get these boosts, you could still take a break from those timelines in the future, because it probably means that they're going to be... Because this is fixed. February 27th is fixed, because that is based off of the day of Pokemon Day, and they're probably going to be making legendary announcements every Pokemon Day. So I would assume that this bundle is theoretically, or this thing is theoretically going to... it's going to be something that they're going to regularly do. So if you ever feel like you're getting burnt out on the game and you want to take a break, I would just highly recommend that in the future, you try to plan it so that it's going to be over the course of this month. End of January to February. Just because they're probably going to give you boosts once you come back to the game. So I assume, once again, though, that's probably not anybody on this channel. Okay, so now the biggest news of them all, I believe. Cresselia Darkrai, I think, is a bigger news, but if they actually gave us more event details, other than just saying, oh, we're having it, and Muna is probably being added. Future updates. Now, we don't know when this is. It just says we have planned for future updates, and that their release dates will be announced at a later date. So basically, they don't know yet. But it does say that it is the next update, I believe. Yeah, to commemorate Pokemon Day, we'll be announcing some of the content. Well, we'll see soon. So, to be implemented in the next update, partial list. This is stuff that's later. So this is just a part of what the next update is. First thing, they're adjusting some natures. They're making Speed of Help down natures less bad. I don't know how I feel about this change, because I feel personally like Speed of Help down were already one of the most manageable bad natures possible. Probably one of the only one that could be overcome with good sub-skills. But they're making it a bit more manageable. I think the big reason why here is because it is just bad for every specialty. So they're making it so that, like, it's now still bad for specialties, but so much more manageable that it's more of just an inconvenience, hopefully. We'll see how much they change it, if it's a 10% boost to frequency, or if it maybe becomes a 9% boost. I don't think that's going to change much at all, but glad to see that my Calm Flareon is going to get a boost. I'm sure everyone's got a Pokemon like that in their box. I've also got some Modest Dittos. I've got 2 of those. But Bold and Timid, pretty much no one uses Pokemon like that unless there's some real special sub-skills. I also have a Modest Arbok. That'll be nice. Anyway, aside from me. So, also in the next update, some changes to weekly mission rewards. Changes to the Pokemon incense you get as a reward for the 3rd get Snorlax to a certain rating mission. This, I think, could be a huge thing. Depends on what they put in those incenses. They're changing them for Greengrass, Cyan, Top, and Snowdrop. I'm really personally hoping that Snowdrop gives Sneasel incense, because then that would finally... It would be a huntable 16-pip Pokemon. Meanwhile, right now, I'm assuming a Alolan Ninetales is probably going to be in there, because the only reason why I think Sneasel is a maybe is just because it is a 16-pip Pokemon, and they might think that's too powerful. But I would assume they'd maybe put Alolan Ninetales, just because it's a 5-pip. It's an exclusive there, pretty much. Maybe Snover as well, since it is kind of the exclusive. They're notably not changing the Lapis and OGPP ones, which, given that, it seems like they're more focusing on making them island exclusives, because Lapis and Old Gold their Incense Reward missions are currently just for the island exclusives. So, maybe they're going to change it up a little bit to make them more the Pokemon that are primarily island exclusives at these islands. Maybe Top could be Onix. Then maybe you could actually hunt an Onix for the first time. Like, legitimately hunt, and not just... Granted, it would only be one every 3 weeks that you go there, so maybe you're not actually hunting it. But I think it could give a little bit of nice stuff to these additional islands. And then also, adjustments to rewards you receive when you conduct sleep research twice in one day, and research at least 11 Pokemon in a single day. I've seen some people complain about this, because this is a nerf to napping, because now after for the 11th Pokemon and any subsequent Pokemon, I think they specifically picked the 11th because you can reach 10 without napping at all, because you can have 8 spawns and then 1 incense and 1 good camp ticket. So it's specifically for the 11th and every subsequent. You only get 1 candy for it, and half the usual number of Dream Shards and Research XP. I still think napping will... I think this is just a nerf so that it no longer heavily benefits those who spoof naps. It's kind of a nerf, though, because they're also increasing the number of candies that you gain through sleep research. So I look at this, and I think, okay, what they're doing here is they're making it so that naps are weaker, but they're boosting the regular amount of candies we get. So it's like... I'm assuming that someone who naps right now probably won't see a change at all in their candy output, because the candy will be increased through just the candy being increased off the base ones. And then, yeah, you'll get less candy from those additional ones, but you're still getting some candy. And then additionally, like, you're getting the base rate. So it's just going to boost it for the people that are at the base. Now, we'd have to actually compare the numbers to see how much that actually is true, but we don't have those numbers yet, so we can only assume for now. But they're increasing candy anyway. The big thing is it's going to hold back people that were napping, that were using it for Dream Shards or Research XP. Subsequently, that actually kind of makes Dream Shard XP Pokemon, or Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon better. Just because splitting sleep sessions was always one of the best ways to just passively increase your Dream Shard income from napping. So them making this nerf, I'm assuming, I'll have to do the math once we actually get these updates and see how things are impacted. But I'm assuming that this is going to lead towards less Dream Shard output from napping, and thereby we may actually have to rely more on Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon. We'll see. But all in all, I'd say some interesting stuff all around here. I don't think this is that big of a nerf to napping as people are saying it is. Yes, it kind of is, but not really. Then, to be implemented in the update after the next. Now, notably, the next update, even though we don't have a time frame for it, it is guaranteed to be before whenever the Psychic event is going to be. Which, as we said, the latest could be This is the absolute latest it could be because they said Cresselia versus Darkrai would be in late March. If it gets pushed back further than this, then it's no longer in March. So this is the latest it could possibly be. So the latest, the next update could be would be this Sunday the 16th. It's probably gonna be a little bit earlier than that, sometime around here if I had to guess. Somewhere in like these 4 days, I'd guess. Usually it's on a Tuesday or Monday they do updates like that. So as for the update after the next, I don't know when that would be. Probably, if I had to guess, it'd probably be right before the Darkrai Cresselia event, because they're probably not going to add these mons to the game before Psychic Week. Psychic Week is probably just going to give us the event with Muna and Musharna. So there's probably be an update around here-ish, or if it's on this schedule, then like here-ish. Then we're probably going to get another update before Darkrai Cresselia to add them into the game, into the back end of the game. That's probably going to be this one. We don't have any official dates on any of these things yet, so just take that as all speculation because that's really all it is. But they're increasing the research rank cap, which is always kind of nice because we get more leveling rewards. That means that our dream clusters become more valuable. Everybody hold on to your dream clusters for when we get that research XP. However, that also means once that is lifted, anybody who's at research rank 60 is now going to be struggling for Dream Shards because a lot of the productivity of Dream Shards comes from Research XP transferred over into Dream Shards, and thereby cutting back now all that Research XP going towards your levels means that you're going to get less Dream Shards by a pretty significant chunk. So just maybe start stockpiling Dream Shards. I don't know. Do what you want with it. But definitely stockpile Dream Clusters. That's going to be huge. Very huge. And try to hold on to them as late as you can before using them, because the higher your research rank is, the more valuable they are. And Pokemon level and recipe level increasing, I think this is pretty nice, just because, well, every time I see Pokemon level increase, I'm like, man, the poor generalist skill specialist, because as of right now, when it comes to, like, productivity, berries, like, if you put berry finding S on things, like, the generalist skill specialists do the best right now, theoretically, with, like, the best sub-skills in nature. But because they scale off of skill level and not Pokemon level, every time that all Pokemon gain Pokemon level, it helps berry specialists the most. It certainly helped ingredient specialists the most when level 60 was unlocked, but now that they've unlocked their last, like, capstone ingredient ingredient slot, level 100 or level 60 is still the biggest one. Like, every level past this point, berry specialists are going to gain more from each level up. So just a 5-level up increase is going to help berry specialists to possibly do better comparatively to skill specialists, especially as a generalist in late game, but also at their respective islands. Recipe level increasing just means that ingredient specialists are still going to remain as meta as always. The fact that they're not increasing any skills levels, and I think that's just because it is harder to increase skills levels because there's smaller gaps between each one, so you need to make each gap more significant. So if they just added skill level 8 for charge strength S, it would just, like, offset the balance way more than that they want to do. So I understand why, but I think this is going to lead to a lot less charge strength Pokemon in late gameplay and more berry specialists. And we'll see how much that really pans out. But then also Pokemon box max capacity increased. That's just kind of nice, I guess, for if you're a hoarder. I don't even know what mine's at, but I know it's nowhere near the maximum right now, so I definitely didn't need this. But they increased it by 200. So if you're a hoarder and you don't want to let go of any of your little Poke guys, then you can hoard even more of them now, if you're willing to spend the diamonds. Additions and adjustments to perks gained from raising friendship levels above certain points. Hallelujah! This is like one of the things that many long-term players have been asking for. We don't know what it's going to look like, but they're telling us that they're changing the friendship level system, which so far has been one of the trashiest systems in the game right now. I'm sorry, I love the game, but I will give criticism where criticism is due. And the friendship level system, the fact that it has remained in the game the way that it has been for so long, has just been, it's almost, it's one of the biggest mistakes I think the devs have made. I understand what the intention was at the start. They thought these gold sub-skills would be great, that everybody would want them because they're rare, and that makes them good. But they really weren't good, most of them. And that led to Friendship level 10 and 40 sucked for ingredient specialists and skill specialists. So hopefully the additional perks gained from friendship levels, and we plan to add perks as well as adjust the existing perks. That means that the existing perks of friendship level 10 and 40, gold skill locking you, are going to be adjusted. We don't know how. But like I said, any adjustment is welcome. Because it is, like, I think one of the worst mechanics they've added to the game. Or that's been in game since launch. They honestly should have made this adjustment a lot sooner. I still love these devs, but this has probably been one of my biggest criticisms of the game, honestly. And then balance adjustments to certain sub-skills. Additionally, making those gold skills better, the ones that all sucked. Research XP bonus, I don't think this is really going to boost it at all. It does, like, yes, it will boost it, but I don't think it'll boost its usage at all. Because it still kind of just does the same thing, just now 50% better than what it was before. Which is a significant boost, don't get me wrong, but still. It will also help to offset, I guess, like this research rank thing, but it's still only like 9% per Pokemon run with it. I guess that's a collective 45%? Yeah, or 5 Pokemon. Which 45% boost is not bad. If you have every single Pokemon on the team running it, but it's just a nice little boost, making the skill stronger, because it was kind of one of the weaker ones. And then the other one is energy recovery bonus. This one I think is honestly huge, because it has a couple broader implications. So it makes it so that the multiple... It does the exact same thing as it did before, but it increases the maximum amount of energy that the skills user can recover from sleep sessions by 5. That means... I find it interesting that it's just that skills user. It's not like amazing because it's not applying to the entire team, but making it so that it also increases that Pokemon's energy by 5 means that it's going to reliably be more healed. Potentially, it could make less need for healers if you're running Pokemon with this skill, but you don't really necessarily need it. It's just no longer going to be a deadweight skill. Before, I honestly thought this was the worst sub-skill in the game because it just took up a slot and did practically nothing if you were playing optimally. If you were playing optimally and you had a good energy for everyone healer, then this skill literally did nothing for you, ever. Unless you were napping. I guess there was some usage in naps, but even then, you'd still probably keep your team's energy maxed if you had a good enough healer. And you probably didn't need the extra 1.14 times from the energy recovery bonus. So it literally was just a deadweight skill. Now at least it does something. It kind of makes me of the Umbreon skill buff. Before Umbreon skill did nothing, now it at least does something. It's still not very good, but at least it does something now. And that's what I'll say about this change to energy recovery bonus. It's no longer dead. But I'm really excited to see what this changes. Because this could honestly be game-changing for anyone that's trying to hunt ingredient specialists and skill specialists. And anytime we have a level cap increase is just ginormous. So, to have all of this news all in the same day is just crazy. Happy Pokemon Day, everybody. It's been a good day. Very exciting day. I've just had a smile on my face all day long, even while I was at work. So, yeah. If you have enjoyed the video and learned something, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I try to cover the news as quick as possible, honestly. So, yeah. Be sure to subscribe so that you can stay on top of all that Pokemon Sleep news. Come join us in the Discord. Link is down in the description. We'd love to have more people there. More people talking, chatting, hanging out. And yeah, as always, I thank you for watching and hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.